Live at Lunch. Live at Lunch with Ott and Hanny on 104.5 ESPN, Baton Rouge.
What the hell's going on out here?
Now, here's Jimmy Ott and Charles Hannegriff.
For some reason or another, you sound a little taller on radio.
Is it live? 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 Is it live?
Jordan?
I heard something in the headset, but why is it not? Oh, it's not plugged in to 4.
And we welcome you in to Live at Lunch here from Doe's Eat Place on Government Street at Mid-City. Charles Hannegriff along with Jimmy Ott, Max Gotro, Jordan Kitchens back in the studio. Thank you for being with us today. Kind of a little bit of overcast day here in Baton Rouge, but we're glad that you're with us. Andy Isco with us at the bottom of the hour. Get his take on the Final Four. Also, first class, second class, no class. We do that every Tuesday. We've got college basketball. In college basketball yesterday afternoon, it was a kind of a strange thing to see. I liked it. Look, I
understand.
Give me some more college basketball.
I think it's a little bit niche, but for the college basketball enthusiasts, they are. Hey, I like it. It's bowl games. You got some opt-outs. The one thing you do have, you have a little bit of some money to dangle at them. But, both of the starting backcourt for Washington State was out last night. Boise State's all their starting 5 is playing. They're the team that just missed out. So you got some moving parts there. But the biggest moving parts were, the sports books that either were taking the action, not taken, or were taken and forced to void because of some jurisdiction.
This is you got this story. This is sort of bizarre that they didn't have this worked out before. But go ahead and explain what happened yesterday, because I didn't.
I don't. They're still trying to figure out exactly what the jurisdiction. But it's not NCAA sanctioned, so they apparently they don't have this event cleared, and so they had to go outside and clear it first. Some were done by states, but it's mostly been done by books. Every sports book in Las Vegas has taken it. Now we've learned to understand that the difference between the Nevada Sports Gaming Commission and then every other state is a lot different. Because Nevada is not allowing FanDuel, DraftKings, mobile sites, BetRivers, not BetMGM. BetMGM's all over the BetMGM properties.
Yeah. At
the MGM, the Bellagio, or the Aria, all that. But so they were available on the menu Sunday night, and then Monday morning they started taking them off. So DraftKings could not, FanDuel could not. They take them up. BetMGM. Those who made bets earlier were voided. Caesars and BetRivers still had them available last night. Today, only BetRivers is available. Now, I haven't checked Bet365. ESPN Bet is not available. I forget who else we have in this state.
MGM?
BetMGM, no. I said FanDuel, DraftKings, okay. BetMGM.
Done.
Fanatics has it. No, you don't know. Max is checking. I made my plays earlier this morning and hoping that they stay, but it's. I heard Johnny Avello talked about it. So the people in Las Vegas were surprised because
this event's been on the books for a long time.
No. The people in Las Vegas were surprised. Like my friends, like humans and them, were surprised that because it was available everywhere to them. Yeah. So, but they quickly were alerted by a lot of their. Like
I said, this was not a big surprise. They didn't up and schedule this tournament.
A
week ago.
I knew the field a long time ago. I know the guy, Ron Ritchie, who is basically the event coordinator at the MGM Garden. And, he's been telling me about this when we visited in
the December tournament went off without a hitch, right? The one that the paper play went off without.
Yes.
So I'm curious how they didn't have this cleared.
And not super crowds, but all the games were up and up. The covers came down to the very end. I mean, last possessions.
So much for my rust theory for these teams that haven't played in 3 weeks. All 4 games went over the total. There was no problem.
Oh, you're looking for them to be rusty with their shooting. I think
offensive execution.
I think it's more, Charlie, of that they're not exactly grinding on defense.
Yes.
So it's a little bit looser feel. This is a minor bowl game. This is supposed to be a little bit more of a reward.
Yeah.
Especially for the players.
You go to Vegas and I send them to Tulsa,
Yes, and then, the longer they play, they win, the longer they stay. Now, if you enjoy yourself too much, there's balance. That's life, Charlie. Balance is key.
Yes.
From your financial portfolio to your social life.
In all things, moderation.
To your marriage, Charlie. Balance.
In all things, moderation. I got it.
Yes.
No, I thought that there would be a little bit of rust. Nebraska, for instance, hadn't played a game since March 9th.
No, they were rusty in the first
half.
They
didn't even play in the Big Ten tournament.
No, I know, but when they showed it in the first half.
And not in the second half. I abandoned
it took them a half to kind of get going, and then they 0.7 foul called, 6-point game with the ball of the game on the number. It was a one of those ticky-tack fouls. We complain we're on the wrong side of it. I was on the right side of it. Most places closed at 6. There were some 5.5, maybe. Well, there was only so many, but there was 5.5 available at one point. But 6 is when I put it out at Outer Locks, and we sunk the 2 free throws to take that. So.
After the 88-point first half in Game 1, I abandoned the under. Theory, they might be. No, they're not playing defense. We almost had a 100-point half in the Nebraska-Arizona State game in the second half. I think
is that Matson's kid that plays for Utah? Mark Madsen, who's now the coach he's going from Cal to.
I'm not sure. Possibly.
Speaking of San Antonio Final Fours, I saw him get 20 rebounds in the overtime semifinal loss to Kentucky.
Yeah,
that was right. I was sitting right next to the Stanford student section. I saw Freddie Savage throwing his groceries up. It was a little overindulged. He's a Stanford alum.
Oh well,
he
party school, right?
Well, no, he was a little excited to be at the Final Four with Stanford. He was throwing his guts up. Come on, Freddie, act like you've been there. So
maybe we do this all again today.
Years. Maybe he's still upset about winning. Ghosting him.
Listen, we all took that hard when Kevin and Winnie didn't. We got 4 more games today.
The other side of the bracket.
Are they going to fix all this by 2:00 today? Or
I don't think so.
No,
I don't. I don't think so. I don't get that feeling. Yeah, it's still Bet Rivers is the only one in the state that has them available.
Okay.
So, yeah.
Carry on with it, if you will, then the Crown.
I'll reach out to Johnny from DraftKings, too. Johnny Avello.
I'm just curious because, again, this is a new thing. This is basketball when we usually don't have basketball. It's a straight NIL deal. See, I was thinking that almost everybody would stick around and play. Let's see if you follow me on this, okay? If you are a player and your regular season ended and you didn't go to the NCAA tournament, you get in this tournament, all right, you got to hang around for about 3 more weeks to get paid. You can still get a transfer portal after that. I mean, I guess you can be in a big-ass hurry to get out of where you're going, but if you don't have,
you can enter the transfer portal and still play.
Yes, too. Yeah, yes, so that's why I expected most of them to stick around, but not all of them. Not all of them did. So
most.
I think the bowl game analogy is a good one.
And most of these teams are disappointed. These are major conference teams that are in this tournament, and so they're not. They it's a little bit of a disappointment. So players will bail on. With minor bowl games. If you are a major conference team and you're one of these, no offense, but if you're playing in the Indy Bowl or the Texas Bowl, those guys are. Yeah. They may bail on you. It's just a similar type of deal.
Other piece of news this morning is we were waiting to see what they would vote on the tush push and whether it be banned. They decided to table that till at least next month. I thought Booger McFarland had the best take on this morning. He said, "Oh, you guys don't have the votes yet." So you're just going to push this down the road until you can convince enough people. They would have, I think, this is my read. If they would have had the votes, they would have voted on this morning, and because they didn't, or because it was up in the air, they decided to push this along. I don't know that they're going to get the votes. You saw, just as they predicted, all of the Eagles guys and ex-Eagles guys, including Kellen Moore, who talked yesterday, hey, we're all for this. And nobody else is using this with the frequency of the Eagles. The Bills use it a good bit, but not nearly what Philadelphia does, and nobody else does. So it does not have the support to get it out right now. My problem with the whole thing, I think, Jimmy, is the same as yours, which is not the Eagles' success rate. It's that this doesn't look like a football play to us. This was against the rules.
Is it entertaining?
No.
But
not everything is entertaining. A quarterback sneak's not terribly entertaining, but it's a legal play. Okay?
Yeah, but it's also it's unpredictable. You don't know who's going for a quarterback sneak and who's actually running a play. I mean, you know the Eagles, what they're running every time, and I mean, I'm floored that more teams can't execute this. I understand that Jalen Hurts with his lower body strength and his squat numbers. I get it, freakish, all right, but it's not just him. I mean, they're just they're driving him. You know, I mean, it's just
a quarterback sneak. He could execute this play without anybody pushing him.
Did Chris Jones? I mean, that injury, no, that's not factored into this. That's kind of a big deal, huh?
What they're saying is that the injury data does not support that this is an overly dangerous play. I'm not saying nobody ever gets hurt.
I'll be fair there because I thought that this was definitely going to have more injuries.
I kept waiting for somebody to pull on Hurts' ankle, or to twist his ankle, or to pull his neck, or something like that.
You're kind of seeing defenses just kind of give up.
They know that they can't stop him for less than a yard.
So you want to go get hurt? I mean,
again, the Eagles' success is not. If they took the tush push out and the Eagles just ran a straight quarterback sneak, okay, on 3rd down and 1, and let Hurts push himself, they'd still probably convert about 80% of the time. He's that strong, and I know Kelsey's gone, but the interior of that line is still pretty good. I got no problem with that. My problem is with the pushing of it. You can't pull guys. You can't pick guys up and throw them. You can't use guys for leverage. I mean, think about the leverage rule on placement. You can't jump on top of somebody. To me, this is using somebody else's body almost as a prop. That's my objection to the play.
So 2005 is when they abolished the evading or aiding the runner rule. I mean, now you listen to some people argue their points on this and calling it sour grapes and stuff. I mean, this was I don't know why it was why they got rid of it anyway.
I don't even remember them changing the rule.
Yeah, it was very secret. No, Charlie, it took me years. Like okay, I guess
that's not still against the rules.
Yes. Because I mean, what year was the Bush push? 2004.
It would have been 3 or 4, one of those 2 years. I mean,
I doubt it was 3 because the 3 they didn't have a scare in Notre Dame, did they?
That was the year they lost to Oregon State in the fog. It must have been 4.
Yeah,
it must have been 4.
I mean, Bush and Leinart were there one more year after 2003, right?
They were there 2 more years. They played.
2 more years. Okay.
They played in the 5 game against Texas.
2004.
Yeah,
because it was part of it continued their winning streak.
Whatever year it was, they did that, and we were all like, that's illegal in the NFL. You can't.
No, it's illegal in college.
It's legal in college.
Because that's why they said because it was illegal, they got away with it. And, and I saw this year because you still can't be in front. A lineman can't be in front and pull the ball. Oh, I've seen that. They're getting away with that occasionally as well.
If you do it in the pile, sometimes it's hard to catch.
No. This is
I know exactly what you're talking about. I know exactly what you're talking about. So easy to officiate from our house and from the sports book. Sometimes
Johnny Avello from DraftKings told me, he's telling me right now, trying to get approvals in certain jurisdictions.
Oh,
so
wow. Okay.
he's still they're working on it. They're working on it. So because Circa took a good handle on it yesterday. I mean, it's perfectly positioned.
Yes.
It's perfectly
They
positioned.
scheduled this thing right.
We're at Doe's Eat Place here in the Crown Town Room in the heart of Mid-City on Government Street. My buddy Scott over here doing a great job. Always makes you feel comfortable. This is it's a casual steakhouse. It is. I mean, big portions. Plenty of great sides. Hand-cut fries are they. You tell me somebody does them as good as they do over here at Doe's. They're available for all the sandwiches that they have over here at Doe's for lunch, and that's the great thing. And while we're over here at lunch, just to remind you that we have so many different lunch options that are not available on the dinner menu. So we know about the great steaks and tamales over for dinner, but hey, man, how about over here for lunch? The meatballs and spaghetti, the chicken fried steak. It's as big as Max's head. Yes, so it's the catfish plate, the different sandwiches, whether you grilled, blackened, Nashville deep fried, hot deep fried, all the different aiolis and cheeses and toppings, and you want some grilled onions on there. You kind of customize your burger or chicken sandwich over here. We got club sandwich. We got some great salads, Charlie. I know you like those.
Love the grilled shrimp salad.
Grilled shrimp
one of my
salad
favorite.
is great. It is great. So hey, in a mid-city area and you're looking for lunch options, and you got to come try it if you've never been over here for lunch. Again, plenty generous portions, as always, over here at Doe's Eat Place, Government Street in the heart of Mid-City.
Live at Doe's, live at lunch, 104.5 ESPN Baton Rouge.
Lunch with Ott and Hanny from Doe's Eat Place on Government Street on 104.5 ESPN, Baton Rouge.
And we're also brought to you by Total Maintenance. AC and heating, generators, electricity, plumbing. Total Maintenance, your one-stop shop for all of these things. Since 1980, their slogan has been service today, every day, so you're not going to sleep uncomfortable. Total Maintenance in both New Orleans and Baton Rouge. Authorized dealer for Carrier, American Standard, Daykin, and Rheem AC units, Generac, and Cummins generators. For all of your electrical and plumbing needs as well, in Baton Rouge, it's 480-1000. In New Orleans, 841-3300. Service today, every day at Total Maintenance. LSU men's basketball with a significant add out of the transfer portal. De'Don Thomas, 6'1" point guard out of UNLV. Very good numbers for him. The last 2 years, co-freshman of the year in the Mountain West 2 seasons ago. Last year, he was third team in the Mountain West. He averaged 15.5 points a game, 4.7 assists. His assist turnover ratio was third in the Mountain West. He played 36 minutes a game, and he started all 26 games for UNLV this past season. Double figures in 22 of the games, and he had 20 or more points in 5 games. All of that is very good. This is the type of player that I think you want to add. This gets you moving in the right direction. LSU also got papers from Michael Nwoko from Mississippi State, who was a big for them that started most of the games. Was not a big stat guy. He was a 6 and 4.5 guy, but he did start almost, I think, all but 2 of the games for Mississippi State. He is a big body on a team that really needs some. He's 6'10", about 250 pounds. What intrigues me about Thomas, in addition to the fact that LSU basketball is, finally moving in a direction that we would be happy about, is that Florida and Kentucky both were involved here. Florida and Kentucky, I don't know what they offered him or how, but those were 2 of the schools that were in there trying to get De'Don Thomas at in the transfer portal. If you look at
a good sign.
Yes, if you look at Kentucky and you look at Florida and you look at LSU's basketball programs, right this second there is no comparison. Okay, in any facet of the game, those 2 programs are leaps and bounds ahead of LSU. So what this tells me is if he had a choice between the 3 schools and he picked LSU, well, they got involved financially. Finally, okay. I'm sorry. If you pick LSU over, well, they haven't done that in the past. So if you picked LSU over Kentucky and if you picked LSU over Florida, given the current state of their basketball programs, you made a financial commitment. This is what we've been asking for. And listen, you still got a long way to go, but this is a step in the right direction. So I'm glad. Watched a little tape on the guy. I'll be honest with you, Jimmy. I don't think I saw UNLV play a game all year. We've got plenty of guys that watch a lot of UNLV basketball. Wes Reynolds, Matt Humans are on with us every week. We'll get a scouting report from those guys later on in the week about exactly how good he is. But this is two players that listen. Nwoko he's a big on a team that needs some. I'm not going to tell you he's a big score, he wasn't a big stat guy. All right, but he's an SEC. He's an SEC starter. Okay, you got to start somewhere. Thomas fills a very, very big need for them. Their lack of a point guard was just one of a number of problems for them last year. This is a good step, so I'm happy. We're going to criticize them when they do wrong. I'm gonna give them credit. This is a step in the right direction.
Yeah, he's Charlie. He's got he just finished his second year in college, 2-year player, and statistically, I've seen him play a handful of times this year. He didn't stand out to me. UNLV was not great. I mean, the coach got fired.
Yeah.
They spotty. They pulled off an upset here or there, and then they beat San Diego State at home in the regular season, but then they go and lose like to Air Force. So his first year he averaged 13.6 a game with a 5.1 to 2.2 assist to turnover ratio. So roughly 2.5 to 1. Not bad for a freshman.
It was third in the Mountain West this year. That was the third best assist to turnover ratio in the Mountain West.
That was his freshman year. This past year, his assist to turnover ratio was 4.7 to 1.9.
That's the one that's third in the Mountain West. Sorry.
They're roughly the same. I mean, he went slightly down on assists. He went slightly down on turnovers. His points were up, though, from 13.6 to 15.6. These are numbers with experience, with playing time. This is kind of fits the mold of some of the other players that the Floridas, the Auburn, that you're seeing making contributions on other teams. There's no doubt. There's a reason why just his numbers alone and that, and the Mountain West Conference has got to be the sixth best league, huh? After the Big East?
Yeah.
After the Power Four.
Their regular season numbers are very, very respectable. Their tournament numbers kind of skew your opinion of them a little bit because that's been a rough go for them. But in the regular season, yes, absolutely.
Well, I mean, they regularly produce the most. I mean, the most at-large teams.
I got no problem with you saying it's the sixth best league. Yeah, that's
fair.
That's fair.
The A10 is not quite what you use Missouri Valley Conference. No. This is the better league. It's a better league. So he fits the profile of a real contributor for some real successful teams. Now, will he have enough pieces around him? I can't. He just didn't stand out to me, Charlie. He's a, he was there. Field goal percentage. He went down because he was probably looking to shoot more. From 50% to 45% from his freshman to sophomore year. His 3-point percentage is from 36% to 35%. That's fine. The kid that can't miss for Duke right now shot low to mid-30s before this past year. So he's got a he's look, the other people, the other programs we're interested in, that's a good sign. It's about damn time.
Yeah, you're at least building something. This is a player that Kentucky and Florida were interested in. Nwoko from Mississippi State, he was a starter on a tournament team. You getting Jalen Reed back. I think he was going to have a good season. Now he's got to come back from this injury, but you are moving. You're finally moving in the right direction. You're not stagnant. You're not ignoring the problem. Okay, you're not signing guys that were token players on average teams, which is what they've done a lot of. I'm sorry, but you brought guys in here who are just not capable of playing at a high level in the Southeastern Conference. These guys we know can play. All right, you need more of them. But this is a good start. So good job, De'Don Thomas coming to Baton Rouge. You got a point guard.
De'Don Thomas alone is not going to make it. Make a roster.
Rome wasn't built in a day. I didn't expect him to sign 5 guys on the first day. So like I said, give them credit when they do something right. This is something right.
Don't forget our friends at K&M Automotive on Segan Lane. Segan and Perkins across Segan from Ambrosia Bakery. It's the only place I take my vehicle. 7:30 a.m. to 4 p.m. Monday through Friday. Pretty much everything that can go wrong. That engine light comes on. I mean, you don't know what's going on. Bring it over to my buddy Jason Payne at K&M Automotive. He's got a lot of repeat customers. He's busy, but he will make time. And if it's not convenient when you first bring it in, they'll set up a time when it's more convenient. But the bottom line is the number one priority when you're trying to bring your car to be serviced, you want to get an honest deal, a fair shake. You've heard the horror stories about getting upcharged for unnecessary work. You paid what for what? That kind of story. Not going to happen at K&M Automotive. That's right. Tell them that you heard it right here on 104.5 ESPN Baton Rouge. Jason Payne, K&M Automotive, Segan and Perkins, across Segan from Ambrosia Bakery.
Live at Doe's, live at lunch, 104.5 ESPN Baton Rouge.
Heading out to Las Vegas, deep in the desert, lives one man. One man of many sports bets. The one and only Andy Isco.
Andy joining us from Las Vegas right now. Andy, how you doing, buddy?
I'm doing well. It's unbelievable how quickly this NCAA tournament goes by.
I know. Chalk Fest. I mean, there's no doubt. And boy, the public is getting it because there's a lot of dog or pass players that have. Hey, man, we're tired of fighting it.
It's been tough,
back Duke. We're going to back Duke against the spread. We're going to back these favorites in the money line. But since since the Ole Miss Iowa State game, every favorite has won straight up, and so
it's like 12 or 13 in a row, something like that.
Yeah, so I mean they won to 12 Thursday through Sunday, so we know that. And I guess late that
12
night.
Games, yeah.
Late. I mean, Ole Miss Iowa State wasn't the latest one on that night. It was Arizona and Oregon, and you had Michigan State and
most of those teams are covered as favorites as well.
Yeah. So anyway, but any thoughts on it? Are you looking? I mean, you Duke like everybody else. I mean, even money. It's basically Duke versus the field right now.
Yeah, I played that the other day. I have Houston as a future also. That's at like 7 or 8 to 1. I forget what it was. But the point of all this is that it's the fact that the favorite team has won is remarkable. But what's even remarkable is the fact that these have been relatively low point spreads for the most part, and you're talking about 3 seeds, beating 4 seeds or 1 seeds beating 2 seeds. It's not like you're talking about a 3 seed beating a 6 seed or something where there's a difference in the seeding. So the fact that we haven't had upsets amongst the best teams in the field playing each other, that's, I think, what makes it even more unique than, I guess the other unique thing is that the only other time all 4 number 1 seeds made it was when the finals were in San Antonio. Not that has any connection because we've had seeding since 1979. And so we're talking about 45, 46 years. So the fact that all 4 number 1 seeds, and a lot of people had, as far as my bracket was concerned, I had 2 1s and 2 2s. The 2 1s I had were, I think I had Duke and I think Houston, and I know I had St. John's. I may have had Michigan State, I think so. I'd have to go back and check. But when I look at these matchups, I'd like to continue to make a case for Houston, with the basis of their defense. This team, of all the teams in the field, they allowed under 59 points per game, which is fantastic. The only problem is the second best team in the field was Duke, allowing barely 61, 62 points per game. So the advantage that Duke might have had against a Florida or an Auburn, that Houston might have had against a Florida or an Auburn, is not there. In fact, when I did my recomputation after the final, the Elite Eight, I have Houston and Duke as the top 2 teams in the field, and I would have them 3 to 4 points over either Florida or Auburn, and they're playing each other. So it's difficult not to like Duke. I understand all the money coming in on Duke, and it's a question of at what point do I want to consider getting involved with Houston. maybe if the line goes up to 6, and we may see that on Saturday.
What are you seeing, 7 or 8 to 1 on Auburn? Those odds were half that, half that short before they won 4 games in a tournament. I mean, it's been something. So, of course, all eyes on Janai Broome. Let me ask you: we've been talking about this transfer, and you being in Las Vegas, a local kid out of Liberty High School in Las Vegas who stayed home to play at UNLV, 4-star athlete who was recruited by the likes of Arizona, Houston, Florida, and UCLA, but stayed home to UNLV. D-Dan Thomas is transferring to LSU. How much do you know about his game?
I can't comment necessarily because it's not an area of my expertise as far as what he can and can't do, other than what other people have said. But he was basically a team leader before he got injured, and he was one of the guys that was expected to be the go-to player on the team. There's been a lot. I know he was highly recruited. He ended up staying at UNLV. Of course, with the coaching change at UNLV, which was not all that much of a surprise. I mean, Kevin Kruger had 4 years and couldn't get him into the tournament. And 4 years generally means that you've basically had an opportunity to recruit an entire senior class at most levels. So a change was made as far as the new coach Passler coming in. He's had a decent track record. So I think LSU's getting a good player, and it's just a question of how he fits in with the current roster, or what will be the 25-26 roster.
And we'll ask, Matt Humans and Wes Reynolds later.
Those guys
I know
have a
Matt.
much better feel for it.
Yeah, Matt, used to be the beat writer for UNLV for the Las Vegas Review-Journal, and goes to a lot of Mountain West Conference games. Bruce Marshall, as well, in Las Vegas with a lot of games, but. We'll get a breakdown on him. I do know this, that those guys that handicap the Mountain West Conference very closely, like them, him being in and out of the lineup, like you referred to, was a major factor of their handicapping. So, I mean, a starting point guard for anybody, should be. But I do remember that they were talking about that. That was toward the latter part of the year, no doubt. Hey, man, so far, I mean, torpedo bats or not, or whatever. It's not just the torpedo bats, but they these a lot of overs in these games because it's supposed to be cold. The bats, it's the pitching's ahead of the hitting a little bit. It hasn't been the case. It's been over heavy for the start of the Major League Baseball season.
Yeah, it has. In fact, I was looking at the game last night because I wanted to find out exactly. How things are going to look in that Sacramento ballpark where the Athletics are going to call home this year. And you take a look at the field. There's not a lot of foul territory once you get back behind third base. So I think that we could see a lot of high-scoring games, not just based on last night, but just based upon the dimensions of the ballpark. So that's something to keep an eye on, and we might start to see up there's in the 9.5s and 10s before too long. I see tonight's game. You got Steele and Severino going, and the total is pretty much at an 8. And of course, the Cubs got out of their little slump yesterday by putting up 16 runs or something. And Oakland, I keep calling them Oakland. I probably will for a while. But the Athletics, I don't know why they don't call it Sacramento. That's where they play. I mean, even if it's just for a couple of years. But nonetheless, the Athletics have gotten off to a pretty decent start so far this season compared to what a lot of the expectations were. In fact, and of course it's early, but you take a look at the White Sox as well and what they've been able to do early. It's a long season, but it won't be a surprise if at least in the early part of the going, some of these teams that end up being towards the bottom of the league have some early success because the playing field in the beginning of the season when everybody's still trying to find their stroke and everything or find their arms, it's a lot more even than it gets once you get into May, June, July, etc.
Forgive me for not paying close enough attention to spring training, but were these torpedo bats not a story during spring?
Not really.
They weren't.
No.
I didn't hear anything about them until
Jazz
the Yankees
Chisholm.
exploded. I'm looking at Ellie De La Cruz last night for Cincinnati. Used it for the first time. Did not use it in the first 4 games of the season.
Get a home run, huh?
He went 4 for 4 with 7 ribbies, okay?
Yeah.
He had a single, a double, and 2 home runs and drove in a career-high 7. Did Ellie De La Cruz, who is a phenomenal player, just, hey, wait a minute, look at these bats. I'll try this tonight, and I'll drive in 7 runs. Was nobody paying attention to this stuff in spring training? I mean, I didn't hear anything about them until the Yankees exploded this weekend.
They can't make them bat fast enough right now.
I would imagine not.
No, they can't make it fast enough.
For everybody except Judge?
The whole theory behind a torpedo bat is basically that the bat is tailor-made for the individual player based upon, his swing and his sweet spot, so that, it conforms with the weight regulations, the dimension regulations, etc. And apparently, Major League Baseball had no issue with declaring that the bats are perfectly legal. So we can expect to see more of that. And a little bit behind the scenes, I'm sure Major League Baseball is smiling, because if they can increase home run production by 5% or so over the course of the season, run production, that's going to make the game more appealing, especially to the younger generation.
Max, you've done a little research in this. I mean, it's basically sliding maybe the barrel based on where these players make contact.
Yeah,
the
moving
most.
wood from either the barrel or the end of the bat to a spot where these players are primarily hitting it out of. They have studies, you go in these labs and they can tell you where you're hitting it off the bat, so they can move it to there, but it can only be a certain width. The only parameters
the barrel
has,
they're just sliding it down a little bit.
A max of 2.6 something inches wide, so that's the parameters. It's not where the most of that weight goes.
The end of it looks like a bowling pin, it kind of deal.
Depending on. You mean a rolling pin?
A bowling pin. No, like
bowling
the end of it is shaped a little bit like a bowling pin.
I got you. Okay.
Not quite as exaggerated, but yes, certainly that kind of shape.
Yeah. So I mean, it's look, everything in sports, everything in life, business is mimicked. Any success. I mean, now Milwaukee their pitching staff got slaughtered again yesterday, but still. And it's happening. This is when the runs are down. That Sacramento park. Our buddy Jeff G sent Charlie and I a picture of their media headquarters. I didn't realize that's the actual stadium where maybe they're hitting out of. Huh? I mean, there's basically this lawn equipment shed. This just turned into their media headquarters. But man, that ball it flies out. It is. Talking to some players, listening to some players rather, they say it's a bit of a bandbox that they played there before.
Maybe for 3 years, man.
I know. Over, little mini Coors feel, huh, Andy?
That's what we're going to see. Let's see tonight. I mean, Steele is a decent pitcher. Severino's a decent pitcher for now with the Athletics, and like I say, the total is 8. Seems a little low. We're about the point right now we're starting to see the starters making their second start of the season. A couple of interesting moves as far as the lines go. I saw that the game tonight with Sale, who will now arguably be the ace of the Atlanta staff, going up against May for the Dodgers. That total opened at 8, and yet the first move was down to 7.5. You wonder how long each of these starters will be in there, and you know that both Atlanta and certainly the Dodgers have potent lineups. I'll be interested to see if that's a high-scoring game or if it's a low-scoring game that not that the odds makers, but the bettors have actually done, because they've moved it down from 8 to 7.5.
I'm not playing contrarian with the Dodgers, that's for sure. And Atlanta is not scoring at all. Their leading hitter, their batting average, leading hitter right now, 176.
That's not good.
Yeah.
Dang good. I don't care how small of a sample size.
Oh, yeah, it's small family, but, Padres, they might be favorites to win the other two divisions if they weren't in behind the Dodgers. That's a very nice roster that they have.
I love the way they're playing, man. Merrill is picked up right where he was off after his great rookie season. It looks like Machado and Tatis are dialed in. This guy, this left-handed hitter, what's his name? The big guy. He's smashing the ball. Oh, he got caught trying to stretch a single into a double last night. He's batting like 5th or 6th for them right now. But Xander Bogaerts is a nice piece. They have a nice. I agree with you, Andy. That lineup looks good, and they're capable. They lost a starter or two, a key starter.
Yeah.
But like Snell, but man, they look like everybody was writing them off. They're moving up, and that lineup is popping right now, no doubt about that. Andy, great stuff as always. We appreciate it, sir. Good luck to whoever you have this weekend in the Final Four. We'll talk to you next week.
I need the winner of Saturday to win on Monday.
There you go. All right. There we go. Easy
Enjoy
enough.
it, guys. Thank you.
All right. Follow Andy on Twitter at VegasAndy711. If your neighborhood requires wood windows like mine, you got to do like I did and call the friends over at Relief Windows. I wish I had called Relief Windows with the original construction of my home, but after these extreme South Louisiana weather conditions, it took its toll on my wood windows. So how can you get some that were going to last but look great? Well, the wood windows at Relief Windows, they do exactly that. They're built using our last wood. Gelled windows come with a 20-year general warranty and a lifetime limited warranty against rot and termites, providing you great beauty and also minimal maintenance, and they will last. Again, limited lifetime warranty, guarantee you complete satisfaction for years to come, and provide the highest quality service and craftsmanship around. For windows, doors, siding, and shutters, do like I did. Call Relief Windows at 288-8138 and reliefwindows.com.
Live at Doe's, live at lunch, 104.5 ESPN Baton Rouge.
Live at lunch with Ott and Hanny from Doe's Eat Place on Government Street on 104.5 ESPN, Baton Rouge.
LSU baseball in action tonight against Louisiana Tech. Bulldogs are 17-11, 6:30 from the box tonight. LSU at 26-3 overall, their best record at this point in the season since 2013. 7-2 record in the conference is their best record through 9 games since 2013. LSU number 1 in the SEC and number 3 in the nation in batting average at .338. Lead the SEC in hits. Number 4 in the nation in hits. Lead the SEC in doubles. Number 2 in the SEC. Number 3 in the nation in on-base percentage. And the pitching staff, number 1 in the SEC in total strikeouts. They're missing plenty bats. They're also walking too many people, but they're missing plenty bats. They're number 5 in the nation in strikeouts per 9 innings. And I would like to see William Schmidt pitch tonight. Did not pitch in the games this weekend. Obviously, Jay Johnson holds his plans pretty close to the vest about what he's doing with pitching. But I imagine we will see Schmidt tonight, since we saw we saw Jaden Newt finish up the game on Saturday night, or Sunday morning as it was. Newt has been the midweek pitcher of choice last couple of weeks. So we'll see if Schmidt starts tonight, if he comes in relief. But obviously I think they're ready to get him back out on the mound. They got a Thursday, Friday, Saturday series this weekend with Oklahoma. So you got one less day to work with. Probably chop up the game pretty good tonight. Bulldogs are 17-11, 4-2 in Coosa. They opened up conference play, winning 2 or 3 games at Sam Houston, and then they won 2 or 3 games against Kennesaw State. So LSU baseball tonight at the box. Max, you pay attention, right, to what happened in the league this past weekend?
Yes.
Florida's still 1-8.
They are bad.
A&M's 1-8.
A&M is bad. Yes.
The preseason number 1 team in the country is 1-8 in league play, and the Florida Gators, some talent on that team, 1-8. So
again, you get a fair test. 5-4 Oklahoma this weekend.
Be a great atmosphere, I'm sure, at that park for LSU's first trip up there. Hour number 2, first class, second class, no class, straight ahead here from Doe's Eat Place on Government Street at Mid-City, 104.5 ESPN Baton Rouge.
Live at lunch, first class.
I want a seat in first class where I was booked and ticketed over a month ago.
Second class.
No man should be subjected to the indignity of being labeled or treated like a second-class citizen.
And no class.
Life had become like school on Sunday. No class. I'll tell you what then. Why don't you call me sometime when you have no class?
First class, second class, and no class. Brought to you by Supreme Rice. Buy local with Louisiana-based Supreme Rice since 1936.
And we return here at Doe's Eat Place on Government Street in Mid-City. First class, second class, and no class. There's going to be a lot of NIL stuff in this segment, but let me start with a good one, or at least one that I like. This is Stephen Miller sent me this one on Twitter, but I probably should have caught it anyway. Stephen Milam, of course, Monster Milam for LSU baseball, donated another $400 to the adoption agency for pets there, CAA, in Baton Rouge. 3 doubles and a homer. So it's for, I believe it's $100 for every extra base hit, or maybe it's for every hit. I'm not sure exactly what his ratio is. But, some of these guys are giving back. We've seen some of them go with Folds of Honor. We've seen some of them donate to other various charities. This one's for Milam. My love animals, so I'm going to love this one just a little bit more. So give him credit for that, donating some of the money back to CAA. Another first-class submission this week. One of the great LSU careers came to an end on Sunday with Anissa Morrow finishing up her eligibility. Some of her numbers, now that we've got a chance to really put them in perspective now that her career is over at LSU, between DePaul and LSU, 106 games in her career did she go for a double-double. 30 out of 36 this past year at LSU. 3-time AP All-American on one of the teams. She's the only player in the NCAA this year to have 600 points and 450 rebounds. And if you were watching the game on Sunday, she played the last quarter with what she said wasn't a broken nose, but it was a disjointed nose. I mean, she basically took a skull to the nose there and had to go back to the locker room. She came right back out there. She was a real fighter. I love that about players when they just fight through it. They want to win with the team. I don't know. I appreciate her game. So she gets first class, and she'll be a hot pick in the WNBA draft next year, or next month actually. And then this one. Somewhere Skip Bertman is listening to this going, what are you doing? Coastal Carolina University says fans can feast for free this upcoming season. I've never heard of this. I don't know how Coastal Carolina is pulling this off financially. But any fan who buys a ticket to the game can get up to 4 items at the concession stand for free. And you can go as many times as you want. Now, no alcohol, but all of the hot dogs, all of the nachos, all of the popcorn, all of the fountain drinks, they're completely free. They averaged a little over $21,000 a game last season. Jimmy, they're going to feed 21,000 people for free at at Coastal Carolina football games. You know how big of a
all beef
portion,
hot dogs?
Huh?
All beef hot dogs?
I don't know. Probably.
No, probably
Maybe.
not.
Probably not.
No.
I'm not expecting 5-star restaurant quality here.
Of
but,
course, no.
But
Free, you can't don't complain about free. Do not
Yeah.
complain about free. No, it's a big deal. I mean, they. How much does that stadium hold?
They averaged a little over 21,000 a game last year. Then they did pretty well. They were
doesn't
successful.
hold much more.
No, it's probably that.
You don't know what it holds. Okay.
I don't know exactly. They generated about $250,000 a game in concession revenue.
Sales?
Yeah.
Okay.
So 6 games
Well,
is about $150,000, give or take. 6 home games. I'm guessing. I don't know.
Wait, what?
$250,000 a game. So this is
but that's what their sales were.
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah.
Well, I don't know how much the cost was for that. Probably concession sales about 20%.
Okay. So this is $1.5 million in revenue minus whatever it costs them that they're basically giving.
Oh no, they're going to be preparing more.
Yeah,
now that it's
right.
free. I mean,
sure.
You're in radio.
I get it. Absolutely. You get a full season ticket package for $230.
No, it's
a good deal. I know how big of a portion of the concessions go towards LSU's budget. Okay, I mean Skip used to talk about it all the time. He said, "Oh, you got to keep them buying the groceries," because it's
that's
a
why
big
he
revenue
wanted to make
stream.
it entertaining and did all of these promotions besides just the baseball itself to try and get people there to generate, concession sales. No, I mean, but. In the age of NIL, is this the smartest thing to do? Because, I mean, even if you just charge them $1 a item, everything's $1.
Yeah, you'd still get a ton of
right. You'd still come off. I mean, okay, it's going to cost you $4 for your 4 items. I mean, I mean, do you want to? I mean, you're giving up. That's whenever you give something, you take something away. Okay, so there's still the athletic budget, concession sales, and NIL budget. So, all right, is this the smartest thing that we're going to take away from the money that could go to NIL budget?
I don't know.
Well, I mean, hey, this is great. Yeah, I want free hot dogs, and I don't care with it. The mystery meat, whatever. I mean, give me my free hot dog and my soda, whatever. But I mean, it's. I don't know if it's the smartest thing in the world.
I don't know either. I just know that they're giving away free stuff, and nobody else does this. So I thought I'd.
Well, at the pro level, Arthur Blank does a hell of a job with it.
It's very, very. It's
basically a dollar item.
Yeah, it's a throwback menu, throwback costs. For what you get in the dome.
Only thing is Chick-fil-A shut out on Sunday.
Not on Sundays, right?
But with such an Atlanta presence, but I mean, he's got budget. This should be more of a pro deal, for the greedy owners there. For me, because Ms. Gale, you paying attention? Do you appreciate your fan base right now?
Raise ticket prices.
I know. Well, you should give them a break on concessions.
A little something.
Yes, this is. But I'm just worried. I mean, I'm just looking at it from all angles. Everybody. Title IX's great. Well, tell that to the former wrestlers who had a top 10 program. That a lot of places are extinct now, like LSU. I mean, it's just that's great. You want to give stuff away, but it takes away from other things.
They do. They've done some creative things over at Coastal Carolina. I mean, you have to get noticed. Last year, they did this deal where if the men's and women's teams combined won 35 games, that anybody who was a season ticket holder would get a full refund on their tickets. They came up 2 games short, but still, really? I mean, that was listen. They're Coastal Carolina. They're not Ohio State. They got to try to get some people's attention.
But they also don't have – but they can afford less to just give away some of their budget than some of the big boys is what I'm trying to tell you.
No, you're right. Okay. You're right. I mean,
we can do this great thing for our fans, but it is showing a level of appreciation for your fans coming to – a not so big time pro. It's exactly 21,000, Charlie. So that is their capacity.
Okay, so they're pretty much selling the thing out every.
How about this
week.
one, huh? The original capacity they've expanded was 6,408. This is a babe. This is you talk about the building blocks, and it was COVID, the COVID year that got them.
Yeah,
they got them going. That was the game of the year.
BYU
going to Coastal.
Right.
Did it on the fly.
How
about
Tuesday?
Oh, you got to do these schedules 8 years in advance. Yeah. Oh, yeah.
Send a truck. I remember that. Those guys had to drive all the equipment across.
Stadium, Benton Field.
Okay.
There you go.
Free hot dogs. I had to check this one to make sure that today's April Fool's Day. Okay.
Here we go.
But wait. This got nothing to do with
Radio
April
guy.
No. April Fool's Day. I read this one last night, and I'm like, man, they jumped the gun. This is April Fool's. But it's not. It's a true story, and you'll understand why. Notre Dame guard Olivia Miles is the consensus number 2 pick in the WNBA draft. Okay, behind Paige Beckers.
Coming back.
Okay, she has decided to forego the WNBA draft and enter the transfer portal.
Yeah.
Okay. It's just so backwards from everything we've ever seen. But the deal is, she's going to make more money. She's going to transfer to one of these SEC schools. I mean, it may be LSU. I don't know, but she's going to where the revenue sharing money and the NIL money is greater than what she would get going to the WNBA.
Caitlin Clark would have made more money at Iowa this year.
Yeah, she would have.
Absolutely,
she would have. She was out of eligibility.
She'd have named her price to whatever school she would have. If she put her name in a transfer portal, Charlie.
Caitlin Clark could have transferred.
She'd have got paid money on the front. She got endorsements, and she's more visible at Iowa than the WNBA.
Yeah, I get it, and I know exactly why Olivia Miles is doing this. I got a pretty good idea, the type of school she's going to end up at. It's going to be one of the power monster
deep budget, not Coastal Carolina.
No. You're going to have to sell some groceries to pay a player like this. But we were talking about Flau'jae Johnson, okay, after Sunday. Now, Flau'jae's got a unique off-court portfolio because of her music career, so that money's going to be there. Her NIL dollars, or her endorsement dollars, are going to be there for her.
Yeah, I don't think.
Besides basketball,
yeah, I don't think they increase or decrease in any way.
And I agree.
I think they maintain.
So let's say that her endorsements, because of her music career, are the exact same whether she's at LSU or with a WNBA team next year. Let's just talk straight basketball compensation. $76,000 in the WNBA next year. She get more than that at LSU?
Hell yeah.
Yeah, just the basketball part now, not the.
Yeah,
okay,
yes.
Yeah. And I think Olivia Miles.
Do you know what? I mean, I don't know, but I mean, I'm bad at this, but I would think Florida maybe $500,000.
I think she made more than that.
Oh, she did? Okay.
Yeah, I think she made more. I don't
Well,
you talking about just the basketball part?
Yes, just the
basketball. Oh, no, I don't know if
I'm not talking about any commercials.
Okay.
No.
I don't know if she made more than that from the basketball part.
I'm saying what would be her price this year at least, huh?
Yeah.
She's a good player.
She's a great
Second
player.
Team All-American?
Yeah, and she's not just a great player, but she's a draw. I mean, people.
I mean, her visibility though. Visibility will be more next year as a rookie in the WNBA or this year at LSU.
That's what she's got to decide.
It seemed like LSU was on. They were on ABC Sunday. They were on. I mean, now and WNBA games are getting better ratings. But what does draw? I don't know, Charlie. What does draw a better rating? I mean,
I would think that her. I'm hesitant to say it's more at LSU.
Tournament games will, but do the regular season games draw more than WNBA?
I don't know.
You don't know?
I don't know. I'm looking at what Angel Reese did this year with Chicago, and she got increased deals. I mean, that McDonald's deal is a big deal for her. So I can't definitely tell you that Flaugier would make more money at LSU
next year.
Flaugier
was a runner-up for Rookie of the Year. She probably increase her deals too.
Yeah, she's.
You understand?
Her value is only going up. Her star is only on the rise. So she's going to make more money next year than she did this year. I think, regardless of where she is. But the question is, will she make more money in the WNBA or at LSU if her endorsement money stays the same? I don't know. She's got to answer that.
The girl for Notre Dame, I think there are a lot of women's basketball players because of such a low number, the WNBA rookie salary.
Yeah.
They would all make a lot more money, Charlie. But this is not totally. I mean, how many players are hanging around that? I mean, college baseball's got to benefit the most. Huh? You want to go to the Motel 6 bus rides, or you want to be a big man on campus at LSU?
Right.
And some people tired of school, tired of class. Well, I mean, how much, still this NIL era. I tell you what, the one big positive: everybody's smarter. Nobody is no academic casualties. Everybody is smart. It's made everybody so much smarter.
It's fantastic. I think the difference is we've seen in college football and in college basketball, men's college basketball, good college players, really good college players stick around. Zach Edey, Sam Hartman comes right to mind.
He's starting.
Yeah, no, he's
that's another miss by me.
You get these guys that stick around, these players stick around, but those most of them were good college players that didn't have the high profile, like Hartman. Okay, this girl's number 2 pick in the draft. Okay, now she's going to be number 2 pick behind Paige Beckers, and she said, "Nope, I'm going to cash in," and she doesn't, to my knowledge, she doesn't have. The portfolio that Flaugier Johnson has off the court. Okay,
Paige Beckers is fun to watch.
She killed it last night again. The only number 1 seed, men's or the women's, not to make it because they had Juju Watkins go down. I would love to have seen that game with Watkins in it. USC hung around as long as they could, but
UConn would have been favored.
Would Juju in the game? You think?
Absolutely. Okay. There were 15 without her.
That's right, and we were told that she was worth 9 points.
About 4 or 5 point favorite.
Yeah. So, all right, no class. Pelicans shut down Zion Williamson and C.J. McCollum with injuries. They've got 7 games left in their season. It can't end quick enough, and they probably could have done this, whenever. The season's been over since, I don't know, the middle of January. But we got a grand total now, Jimmy. Zion Williamson, who had, I want to say this up front, lost a bunch of weight. Okay, looks in better shape than at any point in his NBA career this season, and averaged 25 points a game in the games that he played 30 games. Between Zion Williamson, who has now missed 258 games and played 214 in his NBA career, he missed 52 games this year. C.J. McCollum played 56 games this season. Between Williamson, McCollum, DeJounte Murray, who was hurt twice, Herb Jones, and Trey Murphy. That's your 5 biggest minutes players. We're not going to count Brandon Ingram because he got traded halfway through. It's 410 potential games played, 82 times 5. The Pelicans, top 5 guys, played in 190, 46%, an average of 38 games. This would be one thing if this had just happened this year. Anybody can run into some bad luck. This happens year after year after year after year after year. I mean, certainly. And look, they've changed trainers. They've changed techniques, at least from what I read. They've done this over and over again. And you can't just say, well, Zion's fat, so he gets hurt. Zion was fat and did get hurt a lot. I don't know that that was the case this season for all of these things. And if it was the case for him, it certainly wasn't the case for DeJounte Murray, who had missed, on average, in his time with the Hawks and the Spurs, 8 games a season, which you play 74 games in the NBA now, you're an Iron Man. This was not a problem for Trey Murphy or Herb Jones. C.J. McCollum's been a pretty durable player. You know, I realize he's getting older. What the hell, man? And this is across the building, too. The Saints had an unprecedented injury season this past year, okay?
All right, how much is bad luck? How much is just part of the NBA where, okay, some are legitimate injuries and some are where the guys could be playing through a little aches and pains? Because the NBA, we can't act like the Pelicans are immune to this epidemic going on right now where there's a lot of missed games.
The sheer volume more for the Pelicans is what has gotten my attention.
No, there's no doubt. I mean it's you can't expect them to compete with those type of numbers.
No.
I mean, Max and I sat at one of the games. It was a G League game, Murphy, and that was pretty much it. Was it?
All 5 of those guys are out. Okay. Now, I saw DeJounte Murray. I saw both of his injuries. I was watching live both times. Just happened to be watching live both times. He got a broken wrist, and he got a torn Achilles. It had nothing to do with anything. Those 2 were bad luck on Murray. All right. The rest of these things, I don't know.
I like to distinguish between the two New Orleans professional franchises, okay? And I think that Griffin has done some good. You don't get credit for winning the lottery. I'm sorry. No. You know, as far as Davis and Zion. But I think he's had some moves. He's got a track record. I think there's been some bad luck in there as well. I think it's flat out incompetence on the Saints side. Okay, so that's where I want to distinguish. But there's when you have anything is for you, most things are for contributing factors when you get to these extreme numbers. Yeah. And one is they ain't playing. They don't really do that. This is the league. They're part of the league, and a lot of players are not playing when they could go. Okay. The other thing is they got some injuries. The other thing is, you know, the 2 Pelicans brothers. Okay, Ingram and Zion. Well, they don't share their food, and one guy is built so frail. He's kind of injury prone, taking a beating. The other guy, well, his God-given frame doesn't allow him for a whole lot of room for error. So those guys are going to be, they're going to deal with that. But the Murray, that's bad luck.
That's bad luck.
That's bad luck.
No,
so you
question.
pile onto that. I mean, McCollum, even at this age, that's bad luck. You know, these guys are pros that they've tried to play, have a track record of playing as much as they can. Now, are they following suit a little bit more? How about this one? When you're losing, well, do you really want to go play through pain when you're losing too? Okay, so there's a lot of different factors, but I don't want to just kill the medical staff.
I don't either, and I'm not qualified to kill the medical staff.
And I definitely want to differentiate what's happening with the Saints in this type of regard and what's happening with the Pelicans.
I mostly want to do that too, Jimmy, but they're in the same building and they use a lot of the same stuff and a lot of the same people. And when look, I get the bad luck, okay? But on the football side, guys, McCoy hardly ever got injured.
There's a lot of
Derek
injuries. A lot
Carr
of
had
teams.
hardly ever gotten injured. I mean, just the sheer, if it was a handful.
I mean, it's just that.
The sheer volume of injuries out of I'm going to call it the campus, okay? The Pelican Saints campus, okay? I got to ask the question, what the hell? Because nobody else has this volume of injuries for this amount of time.
Well, I'm not going to eliminate it from one of the contributing factors. But, I mean, that's not
and
just,
they said they've looked at this, they've gone through all the
not just plow in
stuff.
on them, but they're one of the factors.
Yeah.
And, I mean, we would be, but the Pelicans roster is actually constructed to win big. The Saints are not.
No, they're not.
Okay.
David Griffin has had some big hits outside the lottery. I mean, Trey Murphy was outside the lottery. Herb Jones was outside the lottery. Missy was outside the lottery. Alvarado was outside the lottery. He hasn't been perfect, but he's brought a real talent upgrade from outside of the lottery or the massive free agent signing, which is largely not available to New Orleans. So I want to be fair with that.
Parball rice, Charlie.
Yeah.
You try and get that restaurant quality rice, and I did it for years, and finally, yes, indeed, I got to. It's been a long road, but I got it now, man. I love boiling my Parball rice from Supreme Rice. It's available in basically all the grocery stores, the Costco's and Walmarts, wherever you get your rice, where you usually see the rice, but it's been about a year or so. And it's just a long grain rice. It's a clean rice. It doesn't have a whole lot of that residue when you boil your rice and you kind of rinse it off. And it's firm. It's really good stuff, man. How can I get their rice like that? I got it now. And I'm not straying away from any other rice. Parball rice for Supreme Rice. And you're supporting Louisiana rice farmers, which is so important.
And, of course, they're part of the Climate Smart program. They are promoting water conservation and reducing methane emissions for future generations of those Louisiana farmers. More information, great recipes, go to supremerice.com. Live at lunch from Doe's, 104.5 ESPN Baton Rouge.
Live at lunch with Ott and Hanny from Doe's Eat Place on Government Street on 104.5 ESPN, Baton Rouge.
Today's show also brought to you in part by Coastal Capital Advisors, because when it comes to retirement, no two situations are alike. Coastal Capital Advisors will tailor a plan for your family's need, no matter your age or your financial situation. Let Coastal Capital Advisors work for you the way they've worked with me and build that lifetime relationship. For more information, contact Philip Fontenot and his staff, 337-981-1376, or online it's coastalcapitaladv.com. Advisory services provided by New Age Advisors, member FINRA SIPC. D-Don Thomas, the UNLV transfer that LSU inked yesterday. Jimmy, you got a chance to
No, let Max go first.
Max has a different opinion before we get a little bit more background
he's done his analytic research, and he's got an opinion.
Go on.
So, DeDon Thomas, everyone's excited about him, and I understand that, but I would just caution that this is not the big fish of this class. At least it shouldn't be if they want to be relevant. I think it's fair to compare this team and the goals of this team in the portal to what Vanderbilt did last year. They went from a very, very poor SEC team. They brought in a new coach, invested some dollars, and basically their whole team was brand new. Their top 6 players all came from the portal, top 7 actually, in production this year. When you look at their advanced rankings of who they actually brought in from the portal, these guys were mostly top 250 type players that were available in the portal. They were top 250 ads in the portal. You had A.J. Hogard, who I admittedly thought they overspent on. They reportedly spent $800,000 to bring him in from Michigan State. Not a great player at Michigan State by their standards, but still relevant in terms of running an offense. He was their point guard. He, was very adequate. He led them in minutes, led them in assists. And so even if you don't hit on everyone, you have to be able to take a big splash like a Hogard. Chris Mannon, who they brought in from Cornell, was a pretty highly touted guy. Didn't really pan out this year. Didn't play all that much. My point here is you're not going to hit on everyone that you bring in. Florida's maybe
transfer portal
made a point of doing that.
Everything, yeah.
But LSU last year, their 3 main guys who contributed this year in the portal, they were all ranked around 500, 600 in terms of overall players in college basketball. And then when they got in the portal, they were ranked, among the portal guys. But let's not forget, Cam Carter, he was ranked about as a 700th best player at Kansas State last year. Now, maybe he was underrated. These are courtesy of Evan Maya, who ranks all the players. It's an analytical approach. Of course, they get stuff wrong, but this is objective. Cam Carter was ranked 700th at Kansas State. He took a step up. Obviously, he shot way better. He improved a 30% three-point shot to very relevant, 38% this year for LSU, and he drastically improved his ranking. Jordan Sears, though, was one of the more highly touted. He was a top 100 portal ranked player in the class of last year. Finalists in the portal for Jordan Sears: Alabama, Texas Tech, South Carolina. He had great suitors as well. Didn't quite pan out as much as LSU would have liked. And then you brought in Jai Bailey. So the three real players that you brought in, you certainly hit on Cam Carter without a doubt. Jai Bailey gave you good minutes. Jordan Sears, maybe you expected a little bit more out of him as your point guard. De'Don Thomas should be the third to fourth best player in this portal class that they're bringing in.
To get to Vanderbilt's level this year.
They have to bring in more. Vanderbilt brought in, like I said, so many, but 7 of them were top 275 ranked players in their transfer portal class of last year. Right now, LSU has probably one of them. I don't think Nwoku is actually going to be in that top 275. So De'Don Thomas is basically one of them, and he is pretty much average among those Vanderbilt players in terms of where he'll end up being ranked. So you have to bring in 3 more players, basically, that are probably better than Thomas, and a couple back-end guys that you hope to hit on. So Thomas is great. He was a leading points and assists player on an average Mountain West team. I'm just cautioning that just because he was a former 5-star, according to some rankings,
what Max is telling us,
you need better players.
Charlie, is that, one, there are hits and misses in recruiting, and that fan bases tend to get overly excited about their recruiting prospects.
I agree with Max.
I agree, Max.
I agree. Jimmy,
let's break him down a little bit further. Okay, 6'1", 170. Okay, the thing, he's undersized. Okay, but his assist to turnover ratio wasn't bad. The UNLV was 11-9 in Mountain West Conference play this year. They were middle of the road. He didn't have the best supporting cast. The coach got fired for a reason. Their roster wasn't that good. Here's what but the one that puzzles me about his size, Houston. Out of high school and now Houston, this guy doesn't fit that. You look at Houston's team, not this year, but the last 10 years with Kelvin Sampson. Do they have a lot of undersized guys out there trying to play defense and bang?
No.
That doesn't make sense. Here's from Humans, who knows the league way better than all of us, okay? Here's what he says. A good point guard. Although I started to think we overrated him when the Rebels played well without him at the end of the season. Thomas takes some bad shots and not a great shooter. He's small. Not as high on him as I was a year ago, but he's pretty good. Mixed opinions. Okay? So maybe a little bit overrated by some of the interest he got out of high school, but there's still some of those schools sort of maintaining interest in him, and that's, Max, you'd rather, we're talking about beggars can't be choosy, dude. We're talking about, have you paid? You go to the games, huh?
Sure.
Okay, all right. You know what's funny about this? Look at my damn headset.
Yeah.
Oh, you got it.
Whose headset is that? He's got mine. He's acting like me today.
Well, yes, that's what it is. It's the headsets.
You show up late, and this is what we get. Okay, I got the old raggedy headset that Max usually
switch
has.
So I can call this guy the best player of all time.
Well, yes, me. That's flowery.
Yes.
Yes.
Ordinarily, it's Max that's got the positive outlook on basketball, and we're sitting here going, "Are you kidding me?" Listen. You may be exactly right. I trust Humans' evaluation of this kid.
And it's kind of mixed reviews, right?
Yeah. LSU's point guard situation was so bad last year that this can't possibly be anything but a major upgrade. Is this guy going to be, an All-American? No, probably not. But I'm just happy that they're paying attention now. Okay? I almost don't care what he does next year. They outbid Florida and Kentucky for this kid. They had to have, because if Florida and Kentucky offered him anything, those are better programs.
And that could be a mistake because they could have overpaid, paid too much of their budget for it.
I don't know.
Well, but Charlie, you're always, what's he cost? There's a finite number they're dealing with over
there is. So I want to see what it looks like at the end. They're bringing in the Simpkins kids from Elon today. I don't think they're brothers.
They're
twins. Okay.
Yeah.
And both of these kids were good players for Elon. They're bigger guards, they're 6'4" and 6'5" guards. I want to see what this class looks like at the end. But even if it just gets them to 6 and 12 in the conference, at least they are paying attention. At least they are giving something back to the basketball program that they have virtually ignored, for the last 3 seasons as an administration.
It's still weak. Name me another sport that's weaker as far as ranking the conference with their budget.
None.
It's last.
None. So I'm looking for baby steps. It's like with the Saints. Ordinarily, I'm honed in. I need the Saints to draft this. I want the Saints to draft this. I almost, within reason, don't care what position the Saints draft at the end of the month because they need everything. LSU basketball needs everything. So this kid's a better player than what they got on the roster now. One thing at a time,
You can't say that he's not going to be an improved from Sears.
They have not had a true point guard under McMahon.
Yeah.
I mean,
they have struggled
and
at that
compare
position.
Sears and Carter.
I
understand as far as you're trying to differentiate. You're trying to say Sears came with more,
Sears was more highly rated.
Attention, and you can't compare them. Carter's so much better player, and
they outbid Alabama and Texas Tech.
But I think Sears fit LSU's offense perfectly this year.
Yeah.
If you can physically possibly get the shot off at any point in the shot clock, don't work for a better shot. Just shoot it. I thought he really fit in LSU's offense perfectly, which was absolute garbage.
Andy Isco did mention an injury with DeDon Thomas, but Evan Maya, who ranks all the players, had DeDon Thomas last year 555th among all college basketball players. I'm just saying that this move alone, Charlie, does not prove anything to me. They have to do a whole lot more to prove that they're taking this seriously. Sears last year, 630.
With another year or two, this guy's got 2 years of experience. You think they're going to – all the hits on the transfer portal at the bigger programs, they're projecting. And he does have room for improvement. I'm puzzled by the Houston interests. Maybe he's not going to get any bigger and stronger and more physical. He's a smaller guy.
LSU went hard after Coleman Hawkins last year. He went to Kansas State.
Yeah.
Ended up being a bit of a miss. You're going to miss on a couple guys, so you've got to go after bigger fish, and this is just one of 4 or 5 of that caliber
and they
player.
need that. Listen, I'll get to the basketball part later. Right now, I'm just happy that the lights are on over there. Thank you. Please.
You take Vandy's season this year for next year?
Yes, I would.
In a heartbeat.
Yes.
In a heartbeat.
And they may be short of that right now. Like I said, this is a step in the right direction. They need to do more of this. Max is right about that. This doesn't solve all your problems. It gets you better than what you have now.
Is that enough for you to renew your season tickets?
I already have.
You don't see your problem. You're an enabler.
They need the headset. They need my money apparently.
Need my headset back, boy.
Concessions free over there. Free concessions,
please.
That'll pack the people.
Total maintenance. You get free concessions every damn day on the show. I mean, don't complain. Total maintenance of Baton Rouge 480-1000 480-1000. Again, mention my name, Jimmy Ott, Charles Hannegriff, the wrong headset, and get half off diagnostics, including after hours, holidays, and weekends. And also, you get $100 if you mention our name. If you normally $179, it's just $79 to get that AC tuned up for when we really lean on them heavily. It's spring weather right now. It's mild, using them mildly. But get it cleaned. Identify if you got a part that's about to fail, and just have it ready for when we run. And also, lower your monthly bills. Lower your monthly bills. Extend the lifetime of your unit and avoid a really inconvenient breakage during the hot summer months. Total maintenance. Call them up 480-1000. 480-1000.
Live at Doe's, live at lunch, 104.5 ESPN Baton Rouge.
Live at lunch with Ott and Hanny from Doe's Eat Place on Government Street on 104.5 ESPN Baton Rouge.
And today's show brought to you also by the Thibodeau Store. Cajun cookware delivered right to your doorstep. It took me, I don't know, over an hour to get Jimmy out of that store. He was shopping so much with the Cajun cookware and the big green egg cookers and all the accessories down at the Thibodeau Store. 900 St. Patrick Highway in Thibodeau.
Yes, indeed, Charlie. I mean, the crawfish boil stuff with the pots, strainers, washers, all the gadgets, rigs, burner, and all different sizes. I mean, the outdoor stoves with single, double, and triple burners available. The jambalaya pots, man, those cast iron jambalaya pots and the burners that come with it. It's impressive, man. And I mean, you want a roux spoon? Yes, a roux spoon. I got you.
Yeah.
Yeah. I mean, a little bit of everything. You want a net, a scoop where, I want my crawfish spicier than you, but you want it taken out now. I got exactly about a 4-pound tray in one net. Boop, put it on your tray and leave mine alone. Let them keep getting spicy. They've got every little gadget there that you can ever think about. I mean, it's unbelievable for an outdoor cook. Whether it's at your house or it's on site, a festival, a fair, or or tailgating, you got to go check it out. It's a little slice of heaven. 900
St. Patrick Highway in Thibodeau and online. Do it best /Thibodeau Store. Hey, did you guys know that the NCAA is still operating?
No,
I wasn't aware of that, but the NCAA is still in operation. I know this because they did what the NCAA does, a bunch of killjoys. You remember when Coach Prime said, hey, listen, what we'd like to do is we'd like to hold some joint practices in the spring with somebody else.
Oh, they're killing the spring scrimmages.
Killed it, and they trampled on that.
Syracuse raised their hand. Let's maintain spring football like it is.
Syracuse raised their hand and said, we'll go do it. So they put the proposal. They sent it to the NCAA. They said, hey, can we do this? And the NCAA said, no. Bunch of killjoys. Okay, wait. You ready for the?
No, it's just
you ready for the reasons?
It's just
they actually gave reasons.
I know the reason to flex the little power that they have left.
Okay, can I give you the reasons that they gave?
Oh, of course, yeah.
The oversight committee of the FBS cited 3 factors in opposing the waiver. The late timing, because you can't do this stuff at the last minute. What did you just say earlier? Coastal
BYU
Carolina and
Coastal
BYU
in 2 weeks' notice.
A real game, by the way.
Yeah.
The late timing. This one's really funny. A recruiting advantage for Colorado and Syracuse that they get when other teams couldn't hold a similar scrimmage this spring, because this is what's going to tip, in recruiting. A 5-star. Wait a minute. I saw Colorado and Syracuse play a spring, not even a spring game, spring practices. This is a huge recruiting advantage, okay? I mean, this is going to be the reason they're in the top 5.
I know.
And the last one, you're going to, Jimmy, this is right up your alley, okay? Because I know you're worried about this. The potential, I almost can't say this with a straight face. The potential academic impact for athletes missing classes to participate in a spring scrimmage.
Yeah. They're not in semester of the Crown right now. I mean,
how many basketball players have missed class this month?
I mean,
they didn't have any problem sending women's teams, all the way to Spokane. That might have disrupted the academic calendar a little bit, from Baton Rouge to Spokane, or from Columbia, South Carolina to Spokane. But they're worried about the academics of these players that they might
act like the NCAA is like their own little body and they're the bad people and things. It just reminds me, sometimes our educators, these are made of the university presidents. Sometimes our educators are really lacking in some common sense. And this is just flat out rude and insulting. Mm-hmm. I mean, it's one thing to give you, but yes, I mean, there's so. Where do you want to pick this apart? I mean, you talk about low-hanging fruit.
I just gave you a whole. I just gave you a whole list of things.
I mean, torpedo bat away. That's like Milwaukee's pitching this past weekend.
If they could have said, look, this is a good idea. Next year we'll let everybody do it. But it's no. You guys are getting an advantage. Really? Okay. Well, they came up with the idea. You're going to miss class. Really? Okay. I was just surprised to know that the NCAA is still still in existence. They do have to just, go spit in the soup every now and then, right? Just to prove that they're still there.
Oh yeah, 100%.
Yeah,
100%. They just it's.
And spring football is not exactly the best spectator sport.
It's perfect. I mean, it is. Just ask the people in Lincoln. I mean, they're the only ones that go to the game.
Coach Prime came up with a good idea. They told him no, man.
I know.
They told him no.
Don't forget our friends over at Workbox Services. Workbox can handle all of your movable storage needs, both commercial or residential. Again, our shipping containers come in all various sizes, 8x8, 8x10, 8x20, even 8x40 feet. Not just one size, the one that best fits your job or your purpose here. These units can be customized any type of way. You can have it as a lunchroom. You can have it as an office, a work site. Welders. You can set up a work spot, kind of their working area. Part office, part storage, climate control. You want air conditioning? No problem. Shelving, lighting, using different materials, whatever you need. Give my buddy Martin Padiel and Workbox a call at 343-4886, 343-4886, and WorkboxLLC.com. We may have a coaching change in college hoops in a little bit. We'll talk about that when we come back.
Live at Doe's, live at lunch, 104.5 ESPN Baton Rouge.
Lunch with Ott and Hanny from Doe's Eat Place on Government Street on 104.5 ESPN, Baton Rouge.
Move over Lon Kruger and Rick Pitino, John Calipari, people like that. Buzz Peterson going to try and take his fourth different program to the NCAA tournament. Took programs at Marquette, Virginia Tech, and Texas A&M to the tournament. Now it looks like he will try and take the Terps of Maryland. All signs point toward Maryland hiring Texas A&M Buzz Williams as his next head basketball coach on 3 reports. Baltimore Sun is reporting that it's likely as well. We've heard about these. Is it a better job? Well, Texas A&M can make theirs a better job. You don't think they have deeper pockets?
They got plenty of money.
They got, is it finite over there as well, or are they just... or it's things kind of, how many tournament wins does he have at Texas A&M? Is it at that point too where maybe he's a little bit nothing to fire him, but maybe cooling on the administrative support where they can't justify taking a little bit away from football.
How about cooling on the administrator? Texas A&M with these deep pockets is losing coaches they want to keep. They wanted to keep Buzz Williams. They wanted to keep Jim Schlossnagle, and they couldn't keep either one of them. What's the common factor here? We got a new AD. Maybe not the most popular guy.
Trev Albert. Yes. No. They
want to keep.
That's been reported as well. That's right. Good job with my headset today.
We're done at Doe's. Stay tuned for Hunt Palmer on 104.5 ESPN Baton Rouge.